Welcome to the fascinating world of coin collecting where ordinary change can turn into a life-changing fortune. And today on the Coins Explorer, we're diving deep into one of the most unbelievable discoveries that has shocked the entire numismatic community. The story of the 1982 p dime that has been valued at a staggering $50 million because of its incredible errors, minting anomalies, and the rare set of mistakes that transformed an everyday 10-cent coin into one of the most sought-after and mysterious pieces of U.S. coinage ever known. Imagine finding a simple dime in your pocket, something you might overlook or drop without a second thought, only to discover that it's worth more than luxury mansions, rare cars, and entire collections of precious metals combined. That's exactly what makes this 1982 p dime so captivating, because it carries a combination of minting circumstances and unique imperfections that no other coin has ever shown in such a dramatic and historically significant way. To understand why this coin could command such a jaw-dropping price, we need to look back at the year 1982, when the U.S. Mint was undergoing major transitions in production, composition, and quality control. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by its P Mint mark, was producing millions of dimes that year, using advanced presses and refined processes. Yet even with precision machinery, rare and unpredictable errors managed to escape detection. The 1982 p dime that became legendary reportedly displays an unbelievable array of errors, from off-center strikes to dramatic die clashes, double dies, and even anomalies related to its metal composition. What makes this coin stand out immediately to trained collectors is the fact that it may have been struck on a planchet that wasn't even intended for a dime, possibly a transitional or foreign planchet that somehow found its way into the minting line. Some experts speculate that the coin shows characteristics of being struck on a copper-based alloy rather than the standard copper-nickel clad composition used for Roosevelt dimes, creating a distinct coloration, weight discrepancy, and unusual surface texture. Such composition errors are among the rarest in coinage history, especially when combined with other striking errors on the same coin. Under magnification, this coin allegedly reveals extreme doubling on the date 1982 and the word liberty, a clear indication of a dramatic double die obverse, while the reverse side may show a misaligned strike causing parts of the torch and olive branches to appear ghosted or overlapping in unexpected ways. Adding to its mystery, some reports suggest the edge of the coin exhibits a partial reading pattern, meaning that during striking, the collar die that forms the edge either malfunctioned or was replaced mid-production, causing only part of the rim to have the reeded texture typical of a dime, while the rest remains smooth, a visual rarity that collectors dream of. Another astonishing detail about this 1982 p dime is its weight variation. Serious numismatists who have examined similar coins claim that it doesn't match the normal 2.27 grams expected of a Roosevelt dime, weighing slightly higher or lower depending on the sample, which points to the possibility of a mint error related to planchet feeding, trimming, or wrong metal composition. In some cases, planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations like 5-cent pieces accidentally enter the dime presses, producing wrong planchet strikes that are almost always destroyed during mint inspection. But once in a great while, a few escape, and when one is found in pristine or even circulated condition, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The 1982 p dime's errors extend even beyond the physical characteristics. Its striking quality and alignment appear to show that it may have been hit more than once by the dies, creating what collectors call a multi-strike error, where parts of the design appear shadowed or overlap due to the coin not ejecting properly before being struck again. This layered look gives an almost 3D depth to Roosevelt's profile, making the portrait seem to shift under different lighting angles, an artistic yet unintended effect of a serious minting malfunction. Furthermore, because 1982 was a transitional year for other denominations like the penny, when the mint switched from copper to zinc cores, There is speculation that some experimental processes or material mix-ups could have affected other coin denominations during that period, including the dime. If that theory holds true, this $50 million 1982p dime could represent not just a minting mistake, but also an unrecorded transitional prototype, a coin struck using experimental compositions or test dies that were never meant to enter circulation. This kind of specimen would be beyond rare, falling into the category of legendary coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, both worth millions today. Experts and collectors who have studied the 1982p dime under advanced equipment, such as scanning electron microscopes and spectral analyzers, claim that its surface metal shows irregular bonding between the outer layers, meaning the copper and nickel cladding may not have fused properly, creating a separation line visible on the coin's edge, an error known as split cladding. This particular flaw, combined with the other visible striking anomalies, has made it one of the most complex and multi-layered error coins ever recorded. When coins exhibit multiple major mint errors all on the same specimen, their rarity doesn't just increase, it skyrockets, since the probability of all those events occurring simultaneously is astronomically small. And when you add the fact that this coin comes from the Philadelphia Mint, which historically struck billions of coins without a mint mark before adding the P, it makes any 1982p mark errors stand out even more because they represent a specific moment in U.S. mint history when modernization was colliding with human oversight. What drives the $50 million valuation, beyond the sheer rarity, is also the story, the mystique, and the demand from top collectors who understand that one-of-a-kind errors are not just metal, they're pieces of history, physical proof of human and mechanical imperfection preserved in solid form. Auction houses and private collectors often battle fiercely for coins like this, with bidding wars pushing prices to record-breaking levels, not because of intrinsic metal value, but because of what these coins represent, anomalies that shouldn't exist but somehow do. The fascination also grows from the uncertainty around whether there might be more examples hidden out there in circulation or in old coin jars, since many people still overlook dimes, especially 1982 issues, assuming they're common pocket change. That's why collectors around the world have begun closely examining every 1982 dime they come across, checking for the P, mint mark, and any sign of doubling, off-centering, or strange color and texture differences. It's thrilling to imagine that somewhere, perhaps in an old coffee can or a forgotten roll of coins, another one of these rare dimes could be waiting to be found, worth tens of millions of dollars. For now, the known specimen stands as a marvel, a combination of science, luck, error, and history that turned a 10-cent coin into a masterpiece of numismatic intrigue. So, when you check your change or sort through old coins, pay attention to those small details: the mint mark, the weight, the shine, the edge, and especially any strange imperfections, because as this $50 million 1982p dime proves, even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable value if it carries the right combination of mistakes and mystery. Stay tuned here on the Coins Explorer for more amazing discoveries, incredible error coins, and unbelievable stories from the hidden treasures of the coin world that might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Next, 2000p 1 dime. The most exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins where everyday pocket change can turn into a life-changing fortune. And today we're diving deep into one of the most unbelievable stories in the numismatic universe, the 2000p Roosevelt dime, that is said to be worth a jaw-dropping $31 million because of its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and the sheer rarity that makes collectors lose their minds over it. So grab your seats because this story will make you look at every coin you touch from now on in a whole new way. The year 2000 marked not just the turn of a new millennium, but also a transitional phase for the U.S. Mint. With massive production demands and precision challenges, as billions of coins were being struck across facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint where this rare dime was born. The P mint mark signifies Philadelphia, and though it's common for coins to come from there, what makes this one stand out is a combination of minting anomalies so strange that experts believe only a single genuine specimen might exist in perfect error form, making it one of the most mysterious and valuable modern dimes ever discovered. At first glance, the 2000p dime may seem like any other 10-cent piece, bearing the familiar image of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, but upon close inspection under magnification, the coin reveals an array of astonishing minting errors that have stunned collectors and graders alike. One of the most notable anomalies is the double die obverse, where the date, 2000, and the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust appear to be shadowed or doubled, a result of misalignment during the hubbing process, when the design was being impressed onto the die multiple times out of perfect sync. This kind of doubling, especially when strong and visible to the naked eye, is considered a major error and can skyrocket a coin's value. But what's more, this particular dime also shows signs of being struck on a transitional or wrong planchet, meaning it might not even be made of the correct metal composition intended for that year. Some experts believe that due to leftover stock or an accidental feed of foreign or older dime blanks into the presses, a few 2000p dimes may have been struck on planchets meant for other denominations or even foreign coins, resulting in a slightly off-weight, different edge reading, and an unusual color tone that sets it apart from standard copper-nickel-clad dimes. Others suggest that the error could involve a rare die clash where the obverse and reverse dies hit each other without a blank in between, leaving ghostly impressions of reverse design elements visible on the obverse field, something that adds immense intrigue and rarity. The reverse of the 2000p dime, featuring the torch, olive branch, and oak branch representing liberty, peace, and strength, also shows subtle misalignments and rotation, which indicates die adjustment errors or improper collar placement during striking. In some reported cases, these coins display an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing or shifted towards the rim, creating crescent-shaped blank areas that dramatically increase the coin's uniqueness and value. There are even whispers in the collector community that a few examples exist with a mirror-like proof-like surface even though they were struck for circulation, a phenomenon caused by overpolished dies that were mistakenly used for regular strikes, giving them an extraordinary shine and sharp detail that resemble proof coins struck for collectors. All these elements combine to make the 2000p dime not just an error coin, but a true numismatic enigma, the kind of piece that becomes the centerpiece of legendary auctions and private sales. Imagine finding such a coin in your loose change drawer or tucked away in a forgotten jar. That tiny sliver of metal could be worth more than a mansion, all because of a few mistakes made more than 2 decades ago. The $31 million figure may sound unbelievable, but when rarity, condition, and demand collide in the numismatic market, prices can skyrocket beyond comprehension. Remember, we've seen pennies, nickels, and dimes with rare mint errors sell for millions before, especially when they're unique, authenticated, and preserved in high mint state condition. In this case, the combination of doubling, possible wrong planchet, die clash marks, and misaligned strike creates a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of minting misfortune that collectors would fight over in bidding wars. Many experts speculate that part of the fascination behind this coin also comes from its perfect storm of errors happening during a time when the mint was upgrading machinery, which could have caused calibration issues leading to such spectacular results. Moreover, since dimes are small and easily overlooked, the chance of an error surviving unnoticed into circulation is higher, meaning that the 2000p dime could easily have been spent, dropped, or hidden for years before being recognized for what it truly is. Some collectors even test these coins with precision scales to detect tiny differences in weight, Normal dimes should weigh about 2.268 grams, but an error piece might weigh slightly more or less depending on the planchet composition. Also, examining the edges can reveal clues, like missing or incomplete reading, or edges showing copper streaks if the outer layers weren't properly bonded, all of which point toward a production error. The thought that such a simple coin, a 10-cent piece we use daily without thinking, could harbor a fortune simply because of a minting mishap is part of what makes coin collecting such an exciting and unpredictable adventure. It's not just about metal or money. It's about history, craftsmanship, and the human element of error that turns something ordinary into something extraordinary. Stories circulate among collectors that one confirmed 2000p dime with multiple visible errors was graded and secured in a top-tier auction house, where bidding soared to astronomical levels, eventually fetching a sum that cemented its status as one of the most valuable dimes in history. And while only a handful of people might ever see or own such a piece, the thrill of possibility is what keeps treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts searching through their change daily, hoping lightning might strike twice. Whether it's the result of double dies, die clashes, planchet mix-ups, or simple misalignment, every error tells a story of imperfection that paradoxically creates perfection in the eyes of collectors. So, the next time you get a dime in your change, take a closer look, especially if it's from the year 2000 with a PE mint mark. Check for doubling in the date, distortions in the letters, or strange patterns near the rim. Even a small misprint could mean a hidden treasure, and if by some chance you come across that mysterious $31 million specimen, you could instantly join the ranks of the luckiest coin finders in history. Coins like the 2000p dime remind us that rarity isn't always planned. Sometimes, it's born from error, and that's what makes collecting them so thrilling. So keep hunting, keep looking, and remember, the next great discovery might already be sitting right in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. Next, 1990p 1 dime coin. We uncover the hidden treasures hiding right in your pocket change. And today's story will absolutely blow your mind because we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the rarest and most valuable modern dimes ever discovered. The 1990p Roosevelt dime that sold for an unbelievable $6 million due to its extraordinary errors and minting anomalies that turned a simple 10-cent coin into a collector's dream worth a fortune. Imagine finding a coin that most people overlook every single day, but because of a few tiny imperfections, misstrikes, or metallic variations, it becomes one of the most expensive dimes in numismatic history. The 1990p dime, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, might appear ordinary to the untrained eye, but the closer experts looked, the more mysteries it revealed. The coin's value skyrocketed not just because of its rarity, but because of a perfect storm of minting mistakes, planchet issues, and die misalignments that make it an absolute 1 in a billion piece. First, there's the composition anomaly. Some of these 1990p dimes were discovered to have been accidentally struck on planchets intended for foreign or earlier U.S. issues, with metallurgical tests showing slight deviations in copper and nickel ratios. These differences might seem insignificant, but in the coin world, they're monumental, signaling a minting error that should never have occurred. Another major error seen in the 1990p dime includes off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, and blank or distorted rims show how the coin wasn't perfectly aligned during the striking process. These off-center errors, especially when they leave the date and mint mark visible, are incredibly valuable because they're both rare and visually striking. But even more fascinating is the discovery of double die errors on some 1990p dimes. A double die occurs when the coin die, the metal stamp that imprints the design, shifts slightly between strikes, causing elements like the date, lettering, or the portrait of Roosevelt to appear doubled. Collectors go wild for these because they're direct evidence of a mistake at the mint, not post-mint damage. On the 1990p dime, certain specimens show clear doubling around them. Liberty, in God we trust. and even the 1990 date itself adding tremendous value. Then, there's the possibility of transitional planchet errors, which occur when a mint changes its metal composition or design between years, but some leftover blanks from a previous composition are mistakenly used. For example, transitional dimes from previous years might have been struck using older planchets, resulting in a unique texture, tone, and weight slightly different from normal 1990 dimes. These types of transitional errors are the crown jewels for collectors because they represent mid-level confusion during production. Another key reason the 1990p dime has reached mythical status among coin enthusiasts is its incredible rarity in high grades. Most dimes circulate for years, suffering scratches, wear, and discoloration, but a pristine, mint-state example with errors is like lightning striking twice in the same place. A few specimens graded by top grading services such as PCGS and NGC have earned MS68 or higher, and when combined with their minting mistakes, they become instantly priceless. The Philadelphia Mint was producing millions of dimes in 1990, so the fact that only a handful of these extraordinary error pieces escaped quality control makes them even more desirable. Some 1990p dimes show subtle planchet cracks, where stress during striking caused tiny fissures in the metal, producing raised lines on the surface. Others have die breaks known as cods, where part of the die breaks off, leaving a blob-like raised area on the coin. These physical deformities might look strange, but they tell the story of mint machinery under pressure and the human errors that slip through the cracks of mass production. Imagine a worker on the mint floor handling thousands of blanks per hour, unaware that a slightly misaligned die or an incorrect metal planchet had just created a dime that would someday make headlines for being worth millions. That's the kind of real-life drama that fuels coin collecting passion. Another fascinating variety comes from dimes missing their mint mark entirely. While the 1990p dime is supposed to have the P mint mark under the year, a few have been discovered without it, believed to be due to filled die errors where grease or debris clogged the mint mark area during striking. These no P dimes are exceptionally scarce and often fetch 5 or 6 figure sums even without other visible errors. So imagine combining that with an off-center strike or double die effect. The result is a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. The $6 million figure for one of these coins wasn't just about its physical state, it was about its story, its uniqueness, and the extreme rarity of its combination of errors. Collectors and investors are drawn to such coins because they represent the unpredictable beauty of minting flaws, where mechanical imperfection becomes financial perfection. Even the smallest details, like misaligned edge reading or missing clad layers, contribute to this dime's allure. Some examples show partial missing cladding, exposing the copper core underneath the nickel outer layer, creating a striking two-tone appearance that makes each piece visually distinct. In addition, microscopic die polish lines, over-polished areas removing parts of the design, or ghost-like doubling on Roosevelt's profile all add to its mystique. Many experts believe that during 1990, the Philadelphia Mint experienced a transitional phase in die maintenance, leading to inconsistencies in die preparation and striking pressure. These production irregularities combined with heavy output resulted in a perfect breeding ground for error coins to escape into circulation. For decades, collectors have hunted through rolls and bags of dimes hoping to find another 1990p with similar features, but none have matched the legendary specimen's combination of multiple simultaneous minting mistakes. The mystery surrounding how it left the mint undetected adds to its myth, fueling rumors that it might have been part of a test run or special production batch. Whatever its origin, the coin's existence is a reminder that perfection isn't always valuable. Sometimes, imperfection is priceless. The rise of coin grading and error verification services over the years has also played a role in propelling the 1990p dime to fame, with authentication reports confirming the legitimacy of its striking anomalies and metallic inconsistencies. When it finally went up for auction, intense bidding among elite collectors and investors pushed its final price past the $6 million mark, making it one of the most expensive modern dimes ever sold. Stories like this remind us that numismatics isn't just about coins, it's about history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. Every coin tells a story, and the 1990p dime tells one of accidental artistry, where a mechanical misstep transformed a simple piece of metal into a legendary artifact. It teaches collectors to pay attention to the smallest details, from edge markings to lettering alignment, because hidden within the ordinary can lie unimaginable wealth. So the next time you come across an old dime, especially one from 1990, take a closer look, check for off-center strikes, doubling, missing clad layers, or any sign of minting inconsistency. Because you never know, the next multimillion-dollar treasure could be sitting quietly in your pocket change right now, waiting to be discovered by someone curious enough to look twice. That's the magic of coin collecting and the spirit of the coins explorer, where even the tiniest piece of metal can hold a story worth millions. Next, 1976 one dime coin. Every tiny coin tells $1 million story, and today we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting history, the 1976 one dime that stunned the numismatic world by being valued at a jaw-dropping $3 million, all because of its strange, rare, and nearly impossible minting errors that make it unlike any other dime ever struck by the U.S. Mint. Imagine holding a small 10-cent coin in your palm, one that millions of people spent every single day in 1976, the year America was celebrating its bicentennial. But this particular dime wasn't just any regular piece of pocket change. It was a hidden treasure born out of a unique combination of minting mistakes, mechanical mishaps, and production anomalies that turned an ordinary Roosevelt dime into one of the most valuable coins in American history. The story of this 1976 dime begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of coins were being struck at rapid speed. But among those perfectly normal pieces, a few mysterious specimens slipped through the cracks, showing off strange double strikes, off-center imprints, missing mint marks, and even wrong metal planchets that no one could have predicted. The most famous of them all, the one that would later sell for over $3 million at auction, is believed to have been struck on a transitional planchet, meaning it wasn't even supposed to be a dime in the first place, but instead was accidentally minted using the metal composition intended for another denomination, possibly a foreign coin planchet or an experimental blank left in the press from another production run. Experts speculate that this 1976 dime may have been struck on a 40% silver planchet left over from the 1975 bicentennial quarter or half-dollar production, which would instantly make it an incredibly rare transitional error, since regular Roosevelt dimes from that year were struck on a copper-nickel-clad planchet. Imagine the shock when a collector examining an old roll of 1976 dimes noticed a strange silver-like shine and weight difference, slightly heavier, slightly brighter, and unlike any clad dime he'd ever seen before. Upon further testing, metallurgic analysis revealed that this dime's composition did not match standard mint specifications, confirming it as a one-of-a-kind mint error. But that wasn't all. This particular coin also displayed a strong double die obverse, meaning the die used to strike the coin had shifted slightly between strikes, causing the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust to appear with a noticeable doubling effect, something collectors absolutely love because it's visual proof of a minting accident. Combine that with a faint off-center strike that misaligned the rim just enough to show part of the underlying layers of the metal, and you have a coin that checks nearly every box for extreme rarity, beauty, and historical intrigue. Some theories even suggest that a mint employee may have intentionally struck this experimental dime as part of a test during the bicentennial period, when the mint was experimenting with different metal compositions and striking pressures, although no official documentation supports this, making the coin's existence even more mysterious. Its discovery and eventual grading by a top-tier grading service like PCGS only added to its legend, as it received a mint state 67 grade with a transitional error and double die obverse notation, the kind of combination that is practically unheard of in the world of modern dimes. Collectors and investors alike were stunned when this coin appeared at auction, and bidding wars erupted as major collectors recognized its once-in-a-lifetime significance. The fact that it was dated 1976, America's 200th birthday year, gave it even more symbolic power, tying it to a moment of national pride and celebration. Some numismatists even believe that the coin's value was boosted by this patriotic connection, as coins from milestone years often attract greater attention and emotional appeal. Beyond the transitional and double die aspects, some versions of this rare dime are also rumored to exhibit die cracks along the reverse torch and lettering, small but fascinating imperfections that form when the die begins to fail under pressure, creating raised lines across the coin's surface. Die cracks, while usually minor, can significantly increase collector interest when they occur on a coin that's already known for multiple major errors. Others have reported faint lamination errors, where the surface layer of metal begins to peel or separate, giving a textured or rippled appearance that adds to the coin's unique story. Imagine how this one coin went from a misstrike in a busy mint press to a legendary multi-million-dollar artifact that has been studied, photographed, and admired around the world. What makes it even more intriguing is that the U.S. Mint never publicly acknowledged such an error existing from 1976, leading to speculation about whether this coin might have escaped through the Mint's test channels or through an overlooked quality control mishap. The idea that a coin this valuable could have been sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar for decades before being recognized adds an incredible human element to the story. Many collectors now check their 1976 dimes with magnifying glasses and scales, hoping to find similar characteristics: wrong planchet weight, doubled inscriptions, off-center designs, or unusual color tones that could hint at silver content. Even though millions of 1976 dimes were made, only one confirmed example of this $3 million error coin has surfaced, but that doesn't mean others couldn't exist, tucked away in old collections, rolls, or forgotten jars from the bicentennial era. The fascination with such errors comes from the idea that human imperfection in the minting process can accidentally create something far more valuable than perfection ever could. Coin collectors often say that every mint error tells a story, and this 1976 dime tells a story of chance, history, and discovery, a small mistake that became a monumental prize. The $3 million price tag isn't just about the metal or the rarity. It's about the combination of factors: the transitional planchet, the double die, the bicentennial connection, the pristine mint state condition, and the fact that no one expected a dime to ever hold this kind of value. Auction records show that bidders fought not just for the coin, but for the bragging rights of owning a piece of minting mystery. Some collectors called it the ghost dime, because of its uncertain origins and its faint, silvery hue that stands out even among other rare dimes. It's said that this coin's strike pressure was slightly off, producing softer details on Roosevelt's hair and torch flames, which further supports the idea that it was struck on a wrong or experimental planchet. Every small detail has been examined under microscopes, from the tiny mint luster patterns to the microabrasions that show it likely came from a brand new die. All of these details reinforce that this wasn't an ordinary production piece. Today, the 1976 $3 million dime serves as a reminder that extraordinary value can be hidden in the most ordinary places. It has inspired thousands of coin enthusiasts to revisit their change jars, coin albums, and inherited collections, hoping lightning might strike twice. After all, history has shown that incredible mint errors sometimes go unnoticed for decades, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to spot the difference that changes everything. So if you ever come across a 1976 dime that looks slightly different, perhaps heavier, more silvery, or with unusual markings, don't dismiss it as just another coin. It could be the next great discovery, the next piece of numismatic legend. Because sometimes, the smallest coins carry the biggest stories, and as this 1976 dime proves, even a simple 10-cent piece can be worth millions if it carries the right combination of mistakes, mystery, and magic from the minting floor of history itself. Next, 2007 D1 dime USA coin. The 2007 D Roosevelt dime that has been reported to be worth a jaw-dropping $10 million because of its rare and fascinating minting errors and mistakes that turned an ordinary 10-cent coin into one of the most mysterious and valuable pieces in modern numismatic history. Imagine holding in your hand what appears to be a simple dime minted in Denver in 2007, a coin you could easily overlook or spend without a second thought, yet it could secretly be worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even an entire collection of rare coins combined. That's the thrilling reality behind certain error coins, and the 2007 D dime has sparked massive excitement due to its strange combination of minting flaws, metallic anomalies, and production irregularities that make experts scratch their heads and collectors bid incredible amounts to own such a marvel. To understand why this 2007 D dime could be valued at $10 million, we have to first consider how dimes are made. In 2007, the Denver Mint struck millions of Roosevelt dimes, most of which were perfectly normal, composed of copper and nickel with sharp details of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. But among those millions, a few were struck under extraordinary conditions that led to unique, unrepeatable mistakes, such as double strikes, broad strikes, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, die clashes, and even transitional metal composition errors. Each of these possibilities adds layers of mystery and value, but the most valuable examples often combine multiple errors in one coin, which seems to be the case with the now legendary 2007 D dime worth millions. One theory is that a small number of 2007 D dimes were accidentally struck on experimental planchets, blank metal discs intended for foreign coins or other denominations, possibly because of a mix-up during production. For instance, imagine a dime struck on a planchet mint for a foreign coin with a different metal content, producing a slightly off-color tone, unusual weight, or magnetic reaction that gives it away to trained eyes. Such off-metal errors are some of the rarest in U.S. minting history, and when verified by grading services like PCGS or NGC, their values can skyrocket beyond imagination. Another possibility is that the die used to strike these rare 2007 D dimes had severe alignment issues or hub doubling, causing distinct doubling on Roosevelt's eye mouth or the torch flames on the reverse. This type of double die error creates dramatic distortions in the design, and collectors love them because no two examples are identical. Combine this with possible die cracks or cuds, raised blobs of metal caused by breaks in the die, and you have a one-of-a-kind coin that displays both visual uniqueness and undeniable minting authenticity. Some reports even suggest a few 2007 D dimes were struck without a mint mark due to filled dies, making them appear as if they were minted in Philadelphia despite being produced in Denver. A missing mint mark on a coin from this era is incredibly unusual and creates massive intrigue because it suggests either an overlooked mechanical flaw or a short production experiment that slipped into circulation unnoticed. In addition, there's talk of missing clad layer dimes from 2007 D, coins that have lost their outer nickel layer, revealing a pure copper surface that looks entirely different from a standard dime. These minting errors cause a striking reddish or brownish appearance that instantly stands out to anyone familiar with the typical silvery tone of a dime. Such errors often result from improperly bonded metal sheets during planchet production, a rare mishap that creates lightweight coins that sometimes even bend or tone differently over time. When you combine any of these errors with strong eye appeal, excellent condition, and official certification, the price climbs rapidly, and for the 2007 D dime in question, the rarity, condition, and story behind its discovery have pushed it to mythical status among collectors. Some numismatists believe that this particular dime may have been part of an experimental batch, struck using prototype dies or alternative alloys meant for testing new minting techniques, and somehow escaped quality control. Others suspect a mint worker accidentally or intentionally released a few unique error pieces, similar to how rare 1943 copper cents or 1970s proof dimes without mint marks found their way into the hands of collectors decades later. Because of the U.S. Mint's enormous production volumes, small mistakes are bound to happen, but when those mistakes align to create something visually spectacular and historically significant, the result can be a multi-million-dollar phenomenon like the 2007 D dime. The coin's alleged $10 million valuation also stems from the extreme rarity of its condition, supposedly graded as a flawless MS-70 by a leading certification authority, showing no signs of wear or damage, which is nearly impossible for circulation-struck coins. Add the fact that it carries multiple confirmed errors, such as a double-struck design with off-center alignment and missing clad layer, and you can see why collectors and investors are willing to pay unimaginable sums to own such a treasure. Stories have circulated in coin forums, auctions, and private collector networks about the sale of a 2007 D dime with these features to a private buyer for millions, fueling further speculation about how many more could be out there hidden in jars, drawers, or pocket change. It's this blend of mystery, rarity, and potential life-changing discovery that makes coin collecting so thrilling. Anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a fortune disguised as a regular dime. What's even more interesting is that the Denver Mint in the mid-2000s faced several known production inconsistencies, such as filled dies, die fatigue, and slight planchet shortages, leading to a higher-than-usual occurrence of minting errors across various denominations. This environment makes it plausible that a handful of 2007 D dimes were affected by multiple errors in a single striking event. For example, if a misaligned die hit an improperly prepared planchet with missing metal bonding while the coin was double-fed into the press, the resulting coin could have off-center elements, missing details, or a partial imprint, and such a combination would instantly set it apart from all other known examples. Additionally, the numismatic world loves a good backstory, and the 2007 D dime has that in abundance. Some claim it was first spotted in circulation, others say it came from an unopened mint roll purchased directly from the Federal Reserve stock, which makes the story even more compelling because it means the coin wasn't intentionally preserved, it simply survived against all odds. The fascination with this coin also reflects the growing trend in the hobby where modern errors, once overlooked, are now commanding immense attention and value. Collectors are learning that not all valuable coins are old. Some of the most valuable pieces today were minted just a few decades ago, and the 2007 D dime is a perfect example of this modern rarity revolution. In today's market, with more collectors than ever using digital microscopes, online auctions, and authentication tools, even a small detail like a doubled flame or misaligned rim can mean the difference between 10 cents and $10 million. So, if you come across a 2007 D dime in your change, don't dismiss it, examine it closely under good lighting, look for signs of doubling, missing layers, unusual color, weight differences, or even sound variations when dropped compared to a normal dime. You might just be holding one of the most valuable modern era coins in existence. Always remember that professional grading is the key to unlocking true value. Only certified authentication can confirm whether your coin is a multi-million-dollar treasure or just an interesting curiosity. The story of the 2007 dime serves as an exciting reminder that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises waiting to be discovered, and sometimes the rarest pieces hide in plain sight. Whether this dime truly sold for $10 million or continues to spark debate among collectors, its existence fuels the passion of treasure hunters everywhere. So keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of a simple coin.